Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. We're doing a Star Trek episode. We're aboard the Enterprise. We have our Blue Curacao here, which I did a previous video about, where my friend Glenn and we used to drink this stuff straight because we thought, oh, isn't it just like Romulan Ale? It looks like it. And I thought, does it still taste okay? It ended up very, very nice. I like Blue Curacao. And I thought, yeah, that's a really good application for Romulan Ale. I don't mind that, but wouldn't it be worthwhile, since I have so much of the stuff still sitting around and it doesn't have a lot more applications, maybe mixing it with cream soda, maybe I should try and make another Romulan Ale, if only there was somebody who made a proper, nerdy, thoughtful drink combo of Romulan Ale. And lo and behold, there is. How to drink. And Greg on that show has done a lot of movies, a lot of videos, where he has made drinks based on Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Dungeons and Dragons, Star Trek, you name it. He's done a drink about it. And I was really inspired watching his video where he makes Romulan Ale with a bit more fancy, not just Blue Curacao. He fancies it up. He makes it, now his end result is a little bit more of like a milkshake light blue color, which doesn't look how it does in Star Trek 2. That looks more like Blue Curacao. But he also brings up in his very thorough deep dive on Romulan Ale, he mentions that, or he shows scenes from episodes of Deep Space Nine and stuff where Romulans are drinking Romulan Ale, and it has that light blue milkshakey look. My guess is that shows up better on camera, so that's why they kind of modified that. So we're going to make Romulan Ale according to How to Drink's recipe, and see what it's like. Now, I ran through the numbers, and the quantities that Greg gives are a little small. I don't think they're going to show up as a very large thing for me to try out, so I'm going to double his recipe. But let's get started, shall we? So first of all, in our mixer, we want to get 1 ounce, 30 mils, but since I'm doubling it, 2 ounces / 60 mils of simple syrup, which I happen to have right here. Made it myself. And I have a shot glass, which is 30 mils, so I tried out one of these, and the other quantities wasn't much of a drink. So we're going to do 2 shots of simple syrup. And next, we're going to get 2 shots of lime juice, which I happen to have a couple of limes right here. Let's get that going on here. Now, what I really found interesting with Greg's video, in making the profile for what Romulan Ale should be, he was saying he wanted to make sure he had a drink that, like, when Kirk is having his in Star Trek 2, you can tell it goes down a bit rough. Like, he's like, "Phew." And Greg, in making that recipe, just thought, okay, I gotta make sure that the Romulan Ale I'm making has quite a bit of a punch to it. So, and I seem to recall he also mentioned he wants to make sure that the Romulan Ale in question, the one that we're mixing up right now, is the kind of drink, like as per Star Trek 6, you might wake up the next morning with a bit of a reluctance. Yeah, we need more than that. Where you're going to wake up thinking to yourself, ooh, we don't want to have any more of that Romulan Ale on tap, so no more Romulan Ale, please. So he decided to really, I think, up the alcohol content. We're going to find out. In his recipe, the rum that he has, I think, is rather fancy. I don't have the fancy rum, but we're just going to go with close enough, because I'm not sure how critical the amount of, or the quality of the alcohol matters. We'll soon find out. Now, there's our lime juice. Yeah, really handy that we had a little scrap of a red shirt sitting around. Now then, does this make... We need 2 shots of lime juice. Is this sufficient? If not, it'll have to do. There's 1 shot. Hey, we got 2 shots of lime juice. Fantastic. So, 60 mils, or 2 shots of lime juice. Now we get the Blue Curacao, 2 shots again. There's 1, 2. And finally, the rum. Now, as I mentioned, I don't have Plantation 3-Star, which is the stuff that Greg uses, but what I do have is some Bacardi, which I happen to have in my Qingdao bottle here. Kind of had to borrow this from the future of Blade Runner. It would normally be 2 shots, 60 ml, but because we're doubling it, it's 4 shots. If I've got enough left. Let's soon find out here. 1, 2. Oh, just. In fact, there's only a puddle left in the Qingdao bottle. All right, then he also puts in a bit of ice. Now, of course, in typical how to drink style, Greg does the whole like cracking of the big ice square. I don't have that. I'm just putting regular old ice in, but we're gonna mix up some ice to cool this sucker down, because I think this is gonna be a drink with a lot of bite in it. Let's find out here. Okay, just lifting it out so you can have a quick look. It looks quite like a nice color of blue. Let's get this in here and give it a proper shake up. And strain. Ooh. See, that's why we double the quantity. Wanted to make sure that was going to have a good, sufficient quantity that you'd be able to see. All right. Romulan Ale, proper style from Greg over at How to Drink. I love the color. It doesn't look too rough. It doesn't have the milky appearance that I was originally worried about. I thought, oh, this is going to be super milkshake and frosted, you know, like shamrock shake almost. However, let's give it a little taste here. Well, that's very pleasant. I like that. I have to wipe the old red shirt on me. Yeah, that's very pleasant, actually. Now, in his tasting notes, Greg was mentioning that, like, oh, it's a bit too sweet. I would have eased off on the simple syrup. I don't think that's true. I think this tastes just fine. Not too sweet. It's got a nice apple kind of a flavor to it. That would be very pleasant at a party. A nice mix. And actually, with the exception of the simple syrup, it's quite an easy thing to put together. I mean, the limes are simple. You've got the simple syrup and then a couple of shots of booze, including the Blue Curacao. I do like the fact the Blue Curacao, which is normally quite dark, quite purpley, it looks a lot nicer when mixed in this way. This has that light blue. It'll catch your eye. This is the kind of a drink people will walk up and go, ooh, I say, can I have some of that Romulan Ale? And as per Greg, oh, you're going to regret it in the morning, but cheers. That is delicious. Good work, Greg. You know what you're talking about. I like that. Right. Well, I just thought I would try out some Romulan Ale done properly as per How to Drink and do it with the remains of my Blue Curacao. I'm sure I'll be able to come up with some more recipes using that thing. Meanwhile, I'm going to enjoy the rest of this. So, cheers to that. And until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.